welcome to another exciting edition of Cammy's Comic Corner. I'm your host as always, Cammy. So let's get right into the pick of the week. We've got a great week for comics, just like last week, just like the week before. It's been good weeks nonetheless. So first up, the pick of the week from Vertigo, we have Scalped number 38, written by Jason Aaron and art by R.M. Guera. Now, it seems like we have the backstory of every single character in the Scalped universe, except the one character that we know little to nothing about, that we are always fed red herrings about. Like, oh, well, this is really Dashiell's father, when in fact this issue focuses on Dashiell Bad Horse's father. His name is Wade, and we get his whole history in the first couple pages of. He's kind of like Lieutenant Dan from Forrest Gump, where every single family member, like or his grandfather, his great-grandfather, his great-great-grandfather, all of them served in a war, and he did too. He served in Vietnam, and he should have died in Vietnam multiple times. But there's like something about him, like he has a greater purpose or a higher path that he has to follow, which makes him so lucky. So at the end of his little tour in Vietnam, he's the lone survivor in his whole platoon. Everyone else has been slaughtered. He always survives somehow. And so in his off time in Saigon, he's smuggling heroin, making a living off of that. And then when the fall of Saigon, he catches the last copper out of there, or chopper, get in the copper, and he meets a private, Dashiell, who saves his life. And so the name Dashiell stays in his mind, and when we get Dashiell Bad Horse in the end. But then he meets up with the FBI back on his home reservation, and they want him to go undercover and infiltrate the Dog Soldier Society, which, you know, Red Crow and Gina Bad Horse are involved with. So he used to be a coward, he used to be a flunk, he used to be just, you know, no sense in life. Now he finally finds a sense, and I hope we get to see more of Wade in the future, because I really want to know more about Dashiell's father. Like, is he still around? Is he dead? Who knows? We know nothing about this character except in this issue. Great issue, great cover. Pick up Scalped 38 and do yourself a favor and enjoy it. I certainly did. You will too. Now on to the Fast Five. First up from DC, we have Justice League Generation Lost number 2. Now, who's Maxwell Lord? Do you know who Maxwell Lord is? I don't know who they are, but apparently this whole Justice League International team has a problem and a beef with the guy, saying he's evil or something, and how Wonder Woman had to snap his neck, and how Ted Kord got a bullet in the face from the guy, when obviously Diana Prince is a hero. Unfortunately, Ted Kord committed suicide. And, you know, I don't know what Fire and Ice's problem was. They've always been rejects from Checkmate or too hot to handle for the Green Lantern Corps. Oh wait, that's right. Those are the events going on in this issue. It's Max's whole big plan to isolate the JLI, make sure no one believes them, throw their whole reputation through the gutter, and then have his way with them. And they can even hook Captain Atom into it by Max posing as a general. Takes a swing at Max, and then the general says open fire and has Magog even go after him. Really cool stuff. It's kind of playing around with the whole backstory and continuity that we've known for the past decade that DC to be, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen next. We're going to have the new Blue Beetle, Jamie Reyes, in the next issue. How is he going to come into all this? Who knows? All I know is I had a good time. Good stuff. Next up from Marvel, we have Secret Avengers number 1. Now, unlike last week with the the Avengers coming out, I enjoyed this title a hell of a lot more. Mainly because it was written by Edward Brubaker, and you don't need the whole long backstory of how they all met, and oh, look, we're going to go after Kang and Conqueror. No, we're already in progress. As Valkyrie and Black Widow are going after a Roxxon CEO for the Serpent Crown. They don't get the Serpent Crown, they get a crown, but it's kind of made out of spikes or something instead. Then they got to figure out where the real one is. And so the whole Secret Avengers roster is in play. We have Moon Knight, Ant-Man, War Machine, Beast. They're all trying to figure out where it is. They find out that it's in Mars. They send their other member, Nova, to go check it out. They don't hear back from him. So now it's a search and rescue mission by, Mr. Rogers. I'm sorry. So anyway, this is a rescue mission with Nick Fury on their tail. Hell of a first issue. If you want a good Avengers title, pick up Thunderbolts or pick up this title that came out this week. I had tons of fun. Next up from Vertigo, we have Northlanders number 28. Now this is the final conclusion, redundant, to the Plague Widow storyline. We have mother and daughter going off into the wintry wilderness, trying to, have better luck out here than at their old home, or the place they used to call home before it was just raped and pillaged by the members of within the society. So anyway, they're going through, they're just losing hope, and they're exhausted, delirious. Mom gets frostbite and can't go on any longer. Unfortunately, she dies. She passes. She misses her husband so much. And so now it's all up to the daughter to make her way to the closest village, because this wandering band kind of stumbled across them, kept their lips shut, but pointed in the direction where the closest village were. And so she finally makes it. The villagers go, oh my god, where'd this girl come from? And hopefully she'll grow up in a nice, better society than the one she was in before. Great, great stuff. This was a classic Northlanders arc. I can't wait to see this story come out in trade paperback. Next up from Albatross Exploding Funny Books, we have Chimichanga number 2. Now, I know you might have been thinking, wait, did I hear about this? Weren't you talking about this back in like December of 2009? Yes, I did. It's the newest creation of Eric Powell, creator of The Goon, and we follow the pharmaceutical company that Dagmar the Witch sold her anti-flatulence cure to, and we find out that the pharmaceutical company isn't interested in cures. They're interested in just medicine that they can sell to the public, and then when those conditions were, sell them even more. Because if you make a cure, that's not profitable. Who's going to profit? That's why we don't have cures for cancer, AIDS, what have you. So instead, they say, okay, well, let's try it out. And then Dagmar's flatulence comes back. So like, whoa, we can use this now. How do you make the product? And she tells her about Lula, the bearded girl, and her little chin hairs. And so now it's a race against time to get to Lula before she, disappears with her traveling circus again. But back at the circus, we have Chimichanga, raising hell. None of the other circus folk are liking that he's having the spotlight. Everyone's paying all of a sudden to go see the mighty Chimichanga when their feats are pretty cool too. Like, look, me and my two-eyed goat. Or look, I have enough strength more than a slightly larger man. Stuff like that. I really love the humor in this book. Not only do we get Eric Powell's gorgeous art, because with just black and white, the man can do wonders, but we also get the funny story of, at the end of this story in particular, Lula and Chimmy being separated. One's going to the police station, one's being captured because she's owned by the pharmaceutical company. But it's just an amazing ride. Unfortunately, this is only a 3-issue miniseries. There's only one left. I thought for sure this would be an ongoing because I loved it so much. But unfortunately, all good things must come to an end quicker than mediocre things. And finally this week from DC, we have Power Girl number 12. Now, unfortunately, this is the last issue featuring Palmiotti, Gray, and Connor. But they went out with a nice little wrap-up. It warms the heart, you got the action, you got the humor, etc. We have spas and statra. We have emotional waterfalls where you can see what the other person was experiencing in a certain amount of time. You get skimpy, really, really skimpy outfits on Power Girl and Terra, so if you're into that kind of stuff and you're naughty like that, this is probably a good issue to pick up. But I'm sure you'll see the images online anyway going, look how big they are, oh my god! But then we have Satana, literally in bed with Sivana. She's trying to get more weapons to kill Power Girl. Sivana's not having it, says, listen, if you're incompetent and you can't use the stuff that I already gave you, then why are we even in bed together? But then we get the return of Vartox, and he's battling against Galaxord in a fight versus, over Galaxord's wife sleeping with Vartox. Vartox like, I didn't know she was in. But Power Girl has to intervene and say, listen, guys, go ahead and fight off-plan, don't fight in the city. They don't really listen to her, and so she has to kick both their asses and even escort Vartox back to his ship. And then we get the nice little happy birthday for Power Girl back in her IRL, in her real job. So it was a very nice wrap-up issue. I had lots of fun with this. The first trade paperback's out already. Pick up the second one when it eventually comes out. Have a blast with this series. Well, it's going to be an ongoing, but still, just with Palmiotti, Gray, and Connor, they know what's up. Well, comic book fans, that does it this week for Cammy's Comic Corner. If you want more Cammy's Comic Corner goodness, head on over to www.cammyscomiccorner.com. From there, you can subscribe to us on the RSS feed, check out the audio version of the show, Geeky Talkie, and see my Book of the Month reviews, and much, much more. Also, if you like any of the kick-ass t-shirts that you usually see me wearing, brightest day, anyone? Head on over to www.deadlinegraphics.net and send Kelly an email. The deal going on for May is buy one t-shirt, get the second one half off. There's still some time left to take advantage of that offer. There's only one name that I trust, and it's Kelly at deadlinegraphics.net yes. That's who I trust. You should go check them out too. Also, a huge shout out to Rising Sun Creations at rsc-online.com. They specialize in the best of US comic books, manga, and collectible toys imported straight from Japan. All located in Mission Valley if you are in the San Diego area, or on their online store at rsc-online.com. Thanks again for being so awesome. So in the meantime, this has been Cammy's Comic Corner. I have been your host, Cammy. I am tired, I am hot. I need a shower, people. I need a shower.